This podcast was originally live-streamed on the NonSequitur show on YouTube. New episodes air weekdays, Monday through Friday, at 8 p.m. Eastern at youtube.com/NonSequitur show. Make sure you never miss a live stream by visiting www.nonsecshow.com/schedule. For the latest news, polls and updates throughout the day, follow us on Twitter at NonSecShow or Facebook.com/NonSecShow. That's NonSeq show. If you'd like to get exclusive content, bi-weekly private hangouts with Kyle and Steve, backstage access to chat with guests after shows hosted on your channel and much more, become a Patreon saint of NonSequitur. It ensures we continue to improve our show and brings you into the process at the same time. Visit patreon.com/NonSequitur today while the limited spots are still available.
The following podcast is intended for those who believe bold ideas are righteous, unique perspectives are gospel, and strong opinions are sacred. This is Non-Sequitur. Never follow. And now, here are your hosts, Kyle Curtis and Steve McRae.
Well, I'm tired of hurricanes. I've had enough of them for this season. How about you guys?
I'm not affected by them.
I had the shutters blown off of my house and 3 trees crack right in half, blocking the driveway. Had to cut those out, and power lines down everywhere. It has been a mess. I am actually streaming live from an underground bunker that I built for when the nuclear holocaust happened. So I am good to go.
I actually want to know if those are actual shutters.
Yes.
real shutters?
Oh, no. They're aesthetic, totally. But they are...
Yeah. Faux shutters.
Do you notice that the storms are getting worse in strength? I mean, do you think that they're getting worse in frequency and strength, or just in strength?
Sure,
I mean, do we have them both?
Absolutely. Yeah. Global warming. Speaking of which,
so
we have, I know a lot of you have been asking for us to do a show on global warming. We're actually doing that Friday with Dr. Peter Ward. He will be here to take us through how global warming is affecting the planet. And these are a telltale sign of it. I mean, they are getting more ferocious, especially when they hit landfall. We weren't even actually warned for Michael. Like when Florence hit about a month ago, they had like all kind of warnings out. My phone would just blow up with warnings. Didn't say a word about Hurricane Michael. I mean, they did in the grander scheme of things. It was supposed to be really bad for Florida. I don't mean they didn't say anything about Michael at all. But as far as our area, it wasn't. There was no kind
of storm warnings.
Let me show you guys. I have about 6 of these. Because I am paranoid and I never want to be without access of information, I have 6 of these things. They are actually you can see through that, but it's a power bank. It's like a big battery. And so from Florence, I went through all 6 of them, and I haven't plugged them up. I didn't think I would need to plug them back up. I didn't think there would be a reason to. So I got stuck last night about 10. My iPad, my phone was dead, and I was like a zombie. Like I have no purpose in life anymore. There's no one to talk to. There's no one to fight with on Twitter anymore.
I was wondering why you weren't blowing me up last night. Usually it's like all night long we'll get messages, and I didn't hear a peep from him for like 24 hours. I'm like, okay, he's either dead or got no juice. Could be both, but...
Well, I'm glad to see that really concerns you, Steve. Like, because when I thought you were dead that time, I sent people to your house.
You sent a hot chick to my house.
I did.
I don't. You did. You really did.
That's just me.
You actually sent a really hot chick to come check on me.
I did. Cool. I didn't hear from Steve for a day, and I was like, okay, he's not fighting with anyone on Twitter. He's not messaging me really weird theological questions or telling me that somebody is absolutely stupid for holding their position. What's going on here? So I said, okay, we've got to find out what's happening. And we sent a lady to your house to check on you, and you were fine. You just said "fuck the internet" for a day. It didn't tell anyone. So,
you know what? Like I said, I used to tell people. I actually would post in the Great Debate community. I will be incommunicado for the next 24 hours. Don't bother me. I'm not going to have the internet. And people would laugh at me. They're like, "Well, why do we care?" So I stopped doing it. I stopped because they were mocking me for it. I can't win.
Well, at that time, you didn't have a co-host that you did shows with, so it might be a good idea to let that co-host know so he can. Okay. All right. Okay, so we are, dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to take part once again in a Flat Earth Friday. I know you're excited. We are excited too. I am going to let you guys know that on the 16th, which is next Tuesday, we have David Packman. He will be with us to talk about here's my list, the death penalty. There's an interesting sect of religious people who follow an individual named Lord Rael. And Lord Rael is, of course, the reincarnation of Jesus. That's what he believes. But he has a huge following. And one of the disciples is going to be with him. And I told you wrong. It's next Friday is Tim O'Neill. The next Friday, which is the 21st, will be the climate change discussion. Okay, that's all I'm going to run through. Guys, I don't know if any of you guys don't know, our producer Dave, he got laid off in May, and he has a new opportunity to kind of land something solid here in the next couple of weeks, and we need to get to Ohio. So we have a GoFund up. The link will be in the description. If it's not, Dave, you can double check that is there, and if not, it will be there in a few seconds. But if you can, please navigate to that GoFundMe, and let's see if we can help him out and get Dave to Ohio. Other than that, Steve, you got anything announcement-wise before we jump in?
Just that I think your hurricane's still affecting you because we didn't get half of that. So I'm going to kind of repeat a little bit about that. The GoFundMe link for Dave. Dave has some things that he's going to go on. He's trying to, I think, he's got some projects to move and to get self-sufficient. And this is a GoFundMe that people have started to kind of help him along with that. The video that's in the video description. So in case you missed what Kai was saying, because I didn't hear it.
Yeah, it may still be affecting me. I'm not sure.
Yeah. All right, let's dive into it then.
Let's do it.
Let's do it, Flat Earth.
Kroon.
Yes.
Dr. Kroon rejoins us. He is the astrophysicist that told us all about the exoplanets and the exploration therein. Dr. Kroon, welcome back.
Thanks for having me.
Sure. And also returning is the Plain Truth. He was with us in a discussion with at that time, it was Christian anarchist. He now goes by Reformed Christian apologist, but we had the What the Hell episode. So welcome back, Plain Truth.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. And we'll start out with you, Plain Truth, and we'll ask you this question. Can you give us your best evidence for why we are living on a flat Earth and not a globe?
Sure. I think that it's going to be pretty basic. My approach is to, I think, talk about the simplicity, the logic, and the common sense approach to understanding the world that we observe and experience. My introduction into the flat Earth, I think, hit me upside the head from those three vantage points: just the simplicity of the argument, the logic of the argument, and how much it comports with common sense. So basically, what we observe sensibly, those things would be the fact that there is no sense of motion, and there is no observation of curvature, And then following that would be an analysis of the heliocentric model and the way that it's presented to us. If we simply think about it logically, simply, and then also with common sense, those three things, I think, add to the flat Earth approach.
Okay,
That's about it. It's basically that simple.
Okay, you want to take those points, starting out with the there's no feeling of motion as we're spinning through space.
Okay, sure. Well, in terms of when we talk about inertia or even centrifugal force, those things are sensory experiences that we have in this world. We know what centrifugal force is. We know what inertia is. And yet when we are trying to understand the fact that we are supposed to be moving in the way that we are, according to the heliocentric model, those things are not detectable by our senses. And if we look at some of the basic arguments I'm sure you're all familiar with, the arguments from Airy's failure and Michelson-Morley, those kinds of scientific approaches are demonstrations that those attempts to detect motion failed.
Okay, Dr. Kroon?
Okay. So I enjoyed your opening statement. I like how you lay the foundation for your position on the basis of logic and simplicity, a common sense approach. These are ideas that I'll be implementing as well. You mentioned that there's no sense of motion. It sounded like after that you kind of said that we shouldn't feel motion. And then you talked about how there's no observation of curve, but there certainly are hundreds or thousands of very clear, unambiguous observations of curve if you simply look. And then you said that an analysis of the heliocentric model is illogical and not simple and does not conform with what you call common sense. Not 100% sure what the details are on that. Why you think that a highly successful model is not simple or not logical, or how those things are relevant. Because remember, the universe doesn't care if we find something to be simple and logical and easy to fit in our mind. You mentioned the Michelson-Morley experiment, which was not an experiment to show whether or not the Earth was moving or spinning. It's like the most common flat Earth argument that's just completely irrelevant, essentially. And it's, I suppose, incumbent upon me to explain the Michelson-Morley experiment in time later on tonight, perhaps. But that was to detect an ether due to the actual motion of the Earth around the sun. So it is assumed that the Earth is in an orbit around the sun. And they're trying to use that motion that they knew for a fact that was reality in order to measure if there was this proposed hypothetical substance called the luminiferous ether. So it has nothing to do with the flat Earth or the shape of the Earth or anything relevant for tonight. So I'm looking forward to getting into more details, though.
Well, do you want to, since he kind of spoke to the rotation thing, and he explained a little bit more in detail why he stands by the fact that we don't feel any kind of rotation or wood marking the flat Earth. Do you want to explain or respond to that and how it is we don't feel any kind of movement?
Yeah, so if you were to, well, first of all, it's a little silly anytime someone uses their own human senses to measure anything. When you're talking about science, literally the last thing you should ever rely on is